Talking about
Exactly.
having fun.
Yeah, guys. Welcome to Save the Date. One of your hosts, Heath.
What's good, everybody? This is Jamie O.
Yeah, we're talking about having fun and being playful on dates. Actually, the whole title is Humor and Playfulness in Dating, Why Fun Matters. And fun does matter. All fun matters.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Who likes being bored? Who likes being stuffy and stiff? And man,
I
every
do.
every fu- nah, no, nobody does. There's no one
Well,
that loves being bored.
well, I don't like being bored, but I think I have acclimated myself to being stuffy and stiff. Maybe more regimented and routinized. Maybe that's more of a like I'm the kind of person I think even if my routine is not fun, I'm gonna keep just marshaling forward and just, mutt.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean that's to me that. But you have fun mushing forward.
Well, yeah, there's times in there that I'm making fun, and my personality is quirky and weird, and we do impressions, we do we do almost in real time quotes of movies. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would hope that people do find fun on dates. I think so much of what we talk about when we talk about dating, especially in the social media sphere, excuse me, is very serious. You don't really see a lot of playfulness or joy coming from people's spaces. Now, I do hear some joy. It's usually related to sexual intercourse or coitus or sex.
Some pleasure, some kind of
But
pleasure,
yeah,
something.
pleasure, like kinks, BDSM, and the fun stories that people have. But I really don't hear a lot of stories of playfulness or just routinized fun that people have. Some of it may be related to a trip or a vacation, or we went, my favorite spot, Turks and Caicos, went to the Bahamas. And it's all this produced fun that is supposed to be a part of some kind of wild take you there experience. Great. Don't knock it. I'm not going to yuck someone's yum. Hey, great. But I do think that in your everyday dating, which most people have, which I think the average human being should experience or could be experiencing, there's just so much opportunity to be playful and joyful and just tease and whether it's sending everything from something small, sending memes to each other, and gifts to more of the high produced dates that could be fun and exciting to something that is just produced to be fun and exciting. Oh, we're going to go to a stand-up comedy class and do stand-up comedy together at the end of the class, or we're going to go to activity at a park where we're going to do like little kid games as 30-year-olds, right? So we're going to do duck duck goose, red light green light, 1 2 3. These are things, dude, you get back into them old school games. I mean, they even done experiments on this where they had some older people in their 80s or 90s and say, hey, let's do an experiment. Let's say it's 1950 and you have to have dinner ready by tomorrow. And people start to perk up and they start to move like they were in the 1950s when they were in their 30s. It's almost like a psychological phenomenon, right? You play music from that age and you start dancing like you used to dance in the 50s. And so there's so much to be said there as far as finding ways to identify and be playful. So, the whole thing of doing children's games, a duck, duck, goose, red light, green light, 1 2 3, manhunt, tag, freeze tag, the floor
Uno.
is lava. Yo, doing those as adults is fun
Yeah,
as you wouldn't believe. And
yeah,
a date like that would be just like, especially if you have the same kind of game, kind of child game framework, forget about it.
yeah.
But there's other ways to be playful. I mean, even something as like miniature golf. There's just so many ways to enter into that space and just have a good time. What we always like to do here, sometimes we go through like a numbered list or we talk about an approach or a framework or a process to get there. But one of the things I think is you can start by being lighthearted. I just think being easy. One of the things I have spoken to women, I haven't done this scientifically, meaning I haven't done this methodically. I haven't surveyed tons of women. But what I've noticed in the heteronormative context is that a lot of women really do appreciate a guy who can be lighthearted, who can inject some kind of levity into a dating context, whether it's about, back and forth, a woman may be talking with a dude about sports, the Yankees, Aaron Judge, the Knicks, are they going to get KD or not? The jokes you make on their team, well, you're a Nets fan, you really don't know nothing about the Knicks. And
Mhm.
just, I think finding ways, number one, to be lighthearted and inject that lightheartedness into everything you do. But before I get into that, and before I even get more into that, I want to say something that you said in a previous podcast, and I think it bears reminding. Be authentic. You said something, and I think our podcast about red flags, but you basically were talking about being authenticity and being authentic as no matter what you do and how you lead with your relationships. And when you're being lighthearted, don't look for jokes to invent and things that may not interest you. Look for things that interest you, but also connect you to them. And you'll find those overlaps. They're not that difficult to find, especially if you're interested in the person and they've expressed interest in you. You can find ways to inject humor and be yourself, but let it be authentic. Don't start reading, you know what I'm saying, top 5 ways to become a stand-up comedian. You sitting there writing jokes. Hey, if that's your personality, do it. I'm just saying most people, that would be fake for most people because they don't want to sustain it. It's not a natural outgrowth of who they are.
And you're not a stand-up comedian, so it's just like
Yeah.
you don't need a joke book.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You can make a joke about something that y'all organically talk about if you know
Hmm.
how to do that. But if you
Hmm.
don't, like we're talking about, just be authentic, but be lighthearted. Find ways to be lighthearted. I know sometimes, at least in our age range, sometimes it's hard to be lighthearted because people are coming out
Yeah.
with 5 year, what's your 5 year plan? And yeah, they trying to lock it down
Got the
today.
chainmail on. They're coming on a horse. You're
They
mad.
coming to season capture right now.
Exactly. And you try to crack jokes on, oh, this person's unserious.
It's like, no, no, no,
What's your
no,
credit
no.
score?
Yeah.
Start with a 5, a
Mm-hmm.
6, a 7, or an 8.
Yeah. And if it's 8, then you'll be late to the next date and it won't be
And it won't be great.
and it won't be great.
No, you're
Here's your
absolutely right.
fate to be single on Christian Mingle. Nah, it was but yeah,
Listen,
no,
you know, I'm a
no.
rap.
It
I
could
do some
really
rapping.
it can really go like that. And I
Yeah.
feel like the
Yes.
lightheartedness though is definitely important. But I think this is one of those things where I was talking about in a previous episode in terms of being authentic. Yo, you gotta be okay with not having game. And like,
Mhm.
yo, if you're in a situation where this as a man, if you are interacting with a woman who has charisma, and we've talked about this before, how women can be charming. And if you're around somebody that has that charisma, has that charm, and you feel like they are lapping you personality wise, yo, it's okay to bow down to that. You
Yeah.
got to learn how to
Yeah.
be okay with
Yeah.
that situation in that scenario. You don't try to dim the light
Yeah.
because it's not for you to do that. You just learn how to be yourself in context with that person. And if
Mhm.
that makes you feel awkward, I always say, bro, being honest about how you feel and where you are is such a great conversation starter. It's the vulnerability we talked about before. Like, I remember a time when I actually said that to somebody, like, man, I feel like you got so much more personality and charm and charisma than me. And it just turned into a conversation about what she thought about me and me contextualizing what I thought charisma was and personality, and her showing me like, yo, now you actually do got personality too. It's just
Mhm.
yours is like this. And yo, sometimes
Yeah.
you will need somebody to point out your it factor for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Because honestly, this is a two-sided coin. There's an innate it factor that you have, obviously, that you can never give up on, you can never deny. But there's also something that other people will see in you that moves the needle for them.
Yeah.
You'll have an X factor for them that really
Yeah.
appeals to them, that
Yeah.
really resonates with them.
I agree.
So, and you got to be aware of both of those things. So you can have your own innate confidence that comes from what you know about yourself, but there's also the other side of that coin when somebody points out to you, no,
Yeah.
actually, you're dope in this kind of way,
Yeah.
and it gives
Yeah.
you a added layer of confidence or another
Yeah.
look
Yeah,
layer.
absolutely. I love that. I love that because for those who don't know, popular concept that Jamie has been espousing for quite some time now is this idea of the it factor, that there is one or two things that basically are at the foundation of why people may be attracted to you. And attracted is not just romance. It may be also at your job, at a volunteer organization, anywhere you go, your family members. Some people's it factors, they're great organizers. They know how to organize anything, events, homes, ideas. I mean, you give them something to organize and it's going to end up in a structure that's just not only effective, but also, I would say, beautiful. Whether it's an org chart for an organization or how we need to plan operations for the surprise bake sale for the soup kitchen, because we're going to try and fundraise for the local soup kitchen. They will just create an organizational setup or framework to get work done that's just going to be great. Other people's it factor is their looks. Other people's it factor may be their eyes, their skin. It could be anything that can be your it factor. And so that's what we say is your it factor, because it's really what is at the crux or the core of why people mess with you, why people find themselves to you or find themselves sticking around with you or looking out for you, looking for you because there's something you bring to the table that makes them feel good, makes them feel worthy, makes them feel empowered. Now, worthiness we know ultimately comes from yourself, but you may generate that out of somebody. And that's okay as long as it doesn't replace their own sense of worthiness. Going back to playfulness, though, I want to say this too. I think getting back to some of the IRL games we used to play back in the days are just great. Like, yo, a game of Uno.
I was just thinking about that, bro. The
Yo, a
only
game
thing
of
about
Uno.
Uno is if somebody call Uno and you throw out that draw for, yeah, the date is over. I don't ever want to see it could go left too.
No, yeah, yeah. I mean, Uno, playing cards, Uno, bid whisk, spades,
Spades, yeah, some
all that
tunk.
stuff. Yeah, all of those activities that I believe, like, I think my parents met at a bid whisk game, some kind of card game back in the late 70s. That's a big thing. That's what people used to do to get together and crack jokes and be feeling each other, pouring drinks, flirting, having a grand old time. Yo, you'd be surprised what that can mean for you as far as you just vibing and having a good time with somebody. Getting back into board games, Monopoly, Trouble. Yo, it seems quirky. It seems stupid. And again, I think that the dating scene, as you just said, has become too overly serious because everything now is about the investment you're making in me. Everything's about, are you going to do right by me? Everything becomes about the super produced outcomes that need to be present for me to know that you're worth my time and I'm worth your time, or vice versa.
Out the
And
gate.
out the gate,
Yeah, you
out
gotta
the gate.
you need to see that investment out there. Like, what?
Yeah,
Somebody's gotta
I
give you
need
a
to.
promissory note about how they gonna
Yeah.
show up every day. Like, who's gonna do that when they first meet you?
And people say, no, for you to date me, I need to know that you can put 5 G's in my hand. I need to know that, you're going to break me off with that bomb head. I need to know you can throw it back. I need to know. I need to know. I need to know. And
Tell me, baby girl, cause I need to.
know, who's that? Who's
Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mark Anthony got bops. He got bops. But you don't see any kind of joyful, playful kind of communication happening with people because, again, like we said in the previous podcast, people are numb. People are numb. They're over the shenanigans. I spent my time with my first boyfriend. I spent my time with my first girl. I gave her the best 5 years of my life. And we all have stories like that. People who help people through education, put you through college, put you through law school for them to turn around and say, yo, you're a real one. And next thing you know, they're off and married to someone else. Yeah, I done heard stories like that. And Jay, I know you done heard stories like that. And so now everyone has been robbed robbed of their creativity and their playfulness on dates. But getting back into that, I believe, allows you to reconnect around joy and fun as opposed to reconnecting around the next to-do list item.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying don't go to no date and your credit score starts with a 6 or a 7 or whatever you want to say, and wherever it's at. I'm not saying don't work on those things. You should have these other ducks in a row, ideally, especially if you're talking about long-term coupling. You want to be able to put your best foot forward financially. You want to be able to push your best foot forward from a plan and execution standpoint. But what I'm also saying is don't lose the fun.
Yeah.
Don't lose the opportunity to go to a wave pool. Don't lose the opportunity to go to a pajama jammy jam. Don't lose the opportunity to go to people have like forgot what they used to do back in the day, like the bubble parties. Yo, some of that stuff was fun, man. Now I know for myself, I don't do some of those things because I ultimately had times I had to realize I had a little social anxiety, because of my childhood upbringing and some of the ways in which I was programmed or allowed myself to be programmed or continued to build upon a program I was given. So there's certain things that I have to get back into that allow for fun and joy to come in because I could definitely be procedural,
And
especially when it
like you
comes to a
said,
date.
there's nothing wrong with that if that's how you get down.
Yeah, there isn't, but there is a lightheartedness that I have in my heart, things that make my heart skip a beat in a good way, right? And allow me to think about fun times. And it doesn't always have to be introspective and, emo
And
and
heady and all of
yeah,
that. Yeah,
heady,
yeah, no, I
yeah,
feel you.
yeah.
You know what I was just thinking, bro? People need to get comfortable being corny again.
Yes,
We
yes,
we need to get comfortable with our inner corny.
yes, because we're too cool for school now.
Yeah,
We are
yeah.
too cool for school.
And there are some innately cool people, but let those people be them. Most of us are really corny. Most of us
Oh,
really
of
ain't got
course.
ain't got no game. Most of us really don't have like a really polished script of
Yeah,
questions or answers or things that we could talk about at any given moment. And if we
yeah,
do, it's probably something too scripted. It's probably something that is like you can't sustain. You know what I mean? You're gonna feel the disingenuousness and the
yeah.
inauthenticity from it.
Yes, because it's not part of your personality.
Somebody's gonna feel like they're on an interview because it's like, yo, you these questions are asked in a canned way. Like
Mhm.
there's not even room for me to answer authentically or
Yeah,
organically.
yeah,
So I mean, I think we need to learn how to get back to being corny. And like I
yeah,
talked about before, an honest mistake, putting your foot in your mouth, it could be a great way to
yeah.
break the ice.
That's actually been researched, right? People who like people and then that person they're liking falls down, spills some pencils, it actually raises the attraction in that person. And it's
Well, I
from
didn't
some
even know that.
yeah, yeah, no, there's a research on that. That I mean, people over here dropping pencils on purpose. Like, no, I don't like you.
Yeah,
This
don't do
isn't
that.
gonna
Again,
exactly.
because that's not authentic.
Yeah,
You're forcing
exactly.
it. You're
Yeah,
forcing it.
exactly. No, it's they find if someone's attracted to someone and then someone does something like they trip and almost fall and catches up, almost fell. That little somehow humanizes that person in the person in the other person's eyes than the person who's being their admirer, the admirer's eyes, and it increases attraction.
Yeah.
Something
I think it
about being
makes
corny, right? That person's you would think it'd be, oh, when he swooped down and saved those pigeons, or there was gonna be a bank heist and he busted up that bank heist, or she, kicked down the door waving the 404. All you heard
all
was
you heard was
yeah. No, not those things. It's people who are in these almost pratfall sitcom silly moments of making a mistake. And it's just like, oh, it humanizes them. Oh, that person makes mistakes like I do. It increases the attraction.
yeah. That's why I'm such a big proponent of that kind of vulnerability and a hardcore advocate for it. Because, like I said, I've seen it to where when you are open and honest about maybe some of your flaws or a mistake that you've made in some kind of way, like you were just talking about, people do look at you. You become more real to people, more tangible. Like
Yeah.
the version of you now that they see is something that they can relate to because they're like, this person is not perfect.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they're not
yeah.
going to expect that from me. I can feel more comfortable to let my hair down and show my flaws because they're showing theirs. That's actually something that I do try to do when I meet new people. And I feel like in the past I've done that where I will lead with being corny or I will lead with something that I feel like, all right, let me let them know this about me, a quirk about me, and name it so that they can feel like they don't have to be perfect or
Yeah, yeah.
and I hope I don't sound crazy when I say this, but in the past, this is just what women have said to me. They've talked about me like in a way where I'm like, it makes me uncomfortable how they view my looks. Almost like they think I look good enough that I don't have personality flaws. And I'll be
Mm,
like, if you only knew, fam, like, nah,
yeah,
this is
yes,
definitely an imperfect person over here.
yeah, work
I
in
can
progress.
name some personality defects and flaws for you if you would like, just so you know. And that's what I've done. You know, you make light of it because you know that you're imperfect and everybody else is too. So you don't have to have shame about your flaws.
Yeah,
But again, I think what I've seen happen is it makes other people let their guard down too.
I agree.
And that's where vulnerability meets vulnerability. Y'all actually start building and you can actually assess in a more clearer way where things should go.
I
It's
agree.
like, yo, actually, we really got friendship energy. Or you were talking about this thing related to business, and that sparked my interest. Not really looking at you in a romantic way, but can we talk more about this business opportunity? If y'all are just being vulnerable and real with each other, like it
Yep.
really helps forge things ahead in a proper and clear way.
Yeah. Now, if you were 6'4", do you think they would look at you as somebody?
I mean, listen, I'm gonna put it to you like this: they'll either be looking up or they'll be looking down. Do with that information
What you will?
what you
Say 6'4". I don't need to have a personality. 6'4".
at all, at all. You
I
doing
don't
what I
need
say?
playful. What's that do?
You going? You're
That do
going.
say, yeah, 6'4".
If I look at you, you're going.
Yeah.
And that's what the data says.
Yeah, I'm coming out. If I was 6'4", I'm coming to dates with like a cape on,
Facts.
like a straight up like the joints kings used to wear in like England. Joint drapes down, the long train of like the felt robe with the like
Harley race.
what the. I just finished. I'm laughing because I really just finished watching his Hulu, Dark Side of the Ring last week.
Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The King Harley race
Yeah.
with the tigers, the tiger fur at the bottom of the train. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Legit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 6'4", then you
You
definitely.
come out however you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Mismatched shoes. It doesn't matter.
Yo, if I was 6'4" right now, I would go on a date dressed like PB Herman, just like the gray suit with
With
the
the high
white
waters. Gotta have the
Quite
high
true.
waters, the red bow tie,
The red bull. I was curious. I'm curious right now if I was 6'4", if I would do that, if I would end up on dates.
put
Like,
some white
definitely,
stripes in your beard, look like a zebra. It would not matter, bro.
yeah, you come out and be like, "Oh, so I'm 6'4". So basically what I do for a living is,
I'm actually still in the basement, trying to figure it out.
well, your mom's basement?
Don't
I
have a
said a
bed
basement.
frame,
I
just
never
a
said it was my
basement.
mom.
Didn't have
It's a
to
basement.
specify whose basement. You're
I
asking
didn't
too many questions.
exactly.
The bed frame hasn't come yet, but we're working through that. Smelly Tim's and the socks is right by the foot of the bed, air mattress. But we working on that.
This suit I literally purchased from the auction after the actor who played Pee Wee Herman passed away. They had the suit and I got it tailored. I took my last $50 and I got it tailored, and now I'm wearing this Pee Wee Herman suit.
So who's gonna pay for this date? I don't know if you heard, but that was my last $50 that I spent on this suit. So it seems like that's gonna be you. But I don't think you have a problem for it because I'm 6'4". Uh
You know they
we
don't.
talking all kinds of reckless if I'm six
No,
four
they
out here,
don't.
dog.
They didn't make this suit for 6'4". I got this Pee Wee Herman suit made on me. So basically, what I'm trying to say is my basement or yours. You actually have
Yeah.
an apartment. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So you might as well just put my name on that lease because after you experience this 6'4", you may
It's sex
wanna
energy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You may just want to put me on all the leases. Car
yeah.
leases,
Got any additional
apartment
signers on the
leases.
cards, on the insurance? Yeah, yeah. You just my full name. Do I need to give you my social security number and all of that? You know what's so crazy? We talking about this, but I know it's some women listening like, man, I was a victim of that.
Oh hell
I
yeah,
done
yeah, yeah,
experienced
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
I
didn't
thought
into
this
that
six
rabbit
four
hole.
nigga was gonna be the end
Yeah,
all be all.
you
Got
know.
wrapped up in that and
Yep.
still trying to repair my credit,
Yeah,
messing
yeah.
around with six
I was
four
Alice, and let me tell you, it was not a wonderland.
at all. That rabbit hole was deep, too deep.
So that shit might have led to Sheol, led to the land of the spirits, the walking shades.
Where there was much weeping and gnashing of teeth.
There's much weeping and charging of credit cards.
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's talking
that's
about
us.
being lighthearted and playful. This
Yeah,
would have been a
exactly.
great if we was a double date. I think the girls would have been
Yeah,
having a
like
good laugh with
yeah,
this.
exactly. Or at least thinking we're weird, which is a good thing too.
Yeah. Again, being corny.
Yeah, being corny. I love that. I think part of the playfulness ethic is going back to being corny. Weird impressions, noises we used to make. Well, excuse me, little things like that. Like all that acting out, impromptu improv you can do on a date. Yeah, and again,
Being
it goes back
silly.
being silly. I mean, it goes back to being authentic.
Yeah.
If you're not there, then you're not there. And
And
if
here's
you
the thing.
are there and you're afraid to do it, then maybe this isn't the person for you.
I was gonna say, I think everybody has these things in them. It's just these are muscles you gotta exercise,
Yeah,
guys. You know
I
what I
like
mean?
that.
Like we all have the ability to be charming, charismatic, funny, awkward, corny, all of these different types of personality traits. We all have it in us, but it's muscles you gotta exercise.
I agree. I
You
like
gotta
that.
flex them and
I like
develop.
that. I always love the, self-development edge because that's who I am. And I also think to encourage people. Like I used to tell people, everyone has a sales voice. Now there's people who are natural salespeople who then build upon those instincts and become behemoths out of
Master salesman,
yeah,
yeah.
master sales, yeah, salesmen. But you have a sales voice. You have a negotiation voice. You could read negotiation books and become a really good quality negotiator in your own personal life. Everything you think, even at places, retail spots where you don't think that makes sense, you could ask certain questions and you can learn how to become a negotiator. Now, some people, that's what they do for a living. A lot of FBI negotiators. That's what Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference, came out of. So those people negotiate at a higher level. People who are doing peace talks, they're doing nuclear de-escalation, nuclear disarmament. But everyone has a sales voice. But I think, like you're right, everyone has a funny voice. Everyone has a way of bringing. Even back in the day, like the nerds and the what was that guy Ben Stein from Ferris Bueller. But like even those dudes, like they have their way of like getting to the ha ha.
Mm-hmm.
That's unique to them. Just with robot voices like, did I make a funny?
Did I do that? Now listen. If if
Woo!
if that if that can go viral, if that could be a pop culture moment, the corniest dude in the world, a nerd, bro, became one of the most
Yeah.
popular TV icons in the
Did the
world.
Urkel dance with B. Arthur.
Son,
Classic,
like
classic
that's him and
actor.
when you think about it, son, him and Carlton being the nerds that they were became like
Black
super
dudes.
big.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You said you had
TV
things
icons.
like this.
TV icons, bro.
Yeah, yeah. I used to live downtown.
Man. So yeah, I mean, guys, don't embrace your inner Carlton, embrace your inner Urkel. Like we all got it in us. Just Some of us are cool and nerdy. So
Ah,
be
but
learn how to be both.
yeah, and I appreciate you saying that because it's really stuck with me now. What you said earlier, we're too cool. And I think even being on the gram versus being on TikTok, like you really see it's really about being too cool. There's something about that millennial age, that little, I mean, we're Xennial, so we're like straddling between Gen X and millennial. But from like end like Xennial down after to like the end of the millennial age, too cool for school. And you see it in some of the things we criticize. I want to prop the balloon in the previous episode. It's like everything's about being perfect, and you got to be like, you got to
Having it
check,
together.
yo, dude.
Mhm. Yeah. But that's I
Everything's
mean,
got to,
that's
can't, a hair
associated.
can't be out of place.
Right. That's
A
associated with
shoe can't have a scuff
confidence
on it.
and all of that. And to your point, like, yeah, we're conditioned to think we gotta have it together at all times. And
Mhm.
it's like we don't. And it's not something you should feel the need or required to perform just to be cool or just to be attractive or appealing on a date.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not something you should feel forced to do.
No, well, this is being authentic because you will probably get a lot of weirdos, but you may end up getting once in a while someone's like, yo, that I'm into that. That's what I'm into.
That's actually what I found out more of, bro. Like people are really into quirks and oddities.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but we see that on the internet with even the corn categories, right? People are getting big on these kinks and
Hmm.
these side categories, that you're like, what? Yeah, man, that's just what I'm into.
Yeah.
Fill in the blank,
We in a day and age where your tradition is really kind of slipping away and people are really kind of redefining what's normal. We've normalized so much that people are starting to really play around these margins a
Oh yeah,
lot.
yeah, no, absolutely. And Gary Vaynerchuk made a point that the internet shows you that there's somebody out there for your weird. No matter how weird it is, there's somebody out there for your weird. And so, oh yo, I'm a person who likes to hike, but I also have this interest in quilting quilts that have cats in them. And I crochet and I do this. And it's like, yo, there's people really
That's their thing.
200,000 who, even if it wasn't their thing, they see you doing it, it becomes their thing. That's the other
Hmm.
thing. They were adjacent to your weird,
Right.
and then they looked over and was like, oh, that weird's happening?
Yeah.
Easy move over,
Hmm.
easy incorporate, easy integrate. And I think, we're afraid to do that. I mean, again, I always bring up this book, Chris Anderson's Long Tail of the Internet, published, I think, 2006, where he talks about the long tail of the internet. There's so many niches now that the internet can bring communities that were siloed from mainstream popular publishing, or whether it's books, video games, movies, now because of the internet can now bring their weird to the forefront. And now it's out here. Just something like, even something like Tradwife. That's a niche. So I mean, I just think there's all these opportunities now, like you said, to be weird and cool and funny and playful, and recognize there is somebody out there who's gonna vibe with your weird.
Yeah. And before we jet to talk about some practical insight related to this, because you started to earlier, but in addition to the board games, card games, things like that, doing fun activities can probably help keep things lighthearted. Going bowling, maybe going out to a batting cage, like you said, miniature golf, things
Mhm.
like that. I mean, honestly, even going out for a slice of pizza, y'all. Go get some ice cream. Do something simple
Mm.
and chill and just really
Yeah, don't take yourself too serious.
make it about really getting to know each other and getting curious about each other. Because honestly, what else are y'all getting together for? If you really want to get to know somebody, really get to know them. Show them how curious you are. Ask questions and honestly, let that happen organically. I've been on meetups, dates, whatever you want to call them, where you meet somebody, you try to ask questions and be engaging, but it's the same questions you would ask on any day, right? And you can tell that they've probably answered all of these questions yesterday on the date that they went on, or even earlier. And you can tell that they don't want to answer it. And it's just like there's this really awkward silence. And you realize that, yo, you don't need to try to fill the silence with words and questions, and let the curiosity be organic. Y'all might just be sitting together. And I've asked this a number of times and it's started conversation. Is the silence too awkward for you? And then it starts a conversation. I'm actually into silences like that. Like I think it's cool that you could just be around somebody's space and not need to talk. You know what I mean? Things like that start to come out and you get to learn about the person and they get to learn about you. But if all you're doing is performing, you might entertain somebody, but they might not be around long.
Yeah, for sure. And on that note, guys, thank you for another episode. Thank you very much. I'm Heath.
Jamie,
Till next time, take care.
peace.